A very good evening to all our viewers. You're watching Primetime News on TV1. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Yuki Portia, along with our sign language interpreter Brandy Cruz via Zoom. Before we head into stories in detail, let's start off with a look at your headlines for tonight.
India's Foreign Secretary visits oil tank farm in Trincomalee. Will the oil tank deal with India be extended? Indo-Sri Lanka military exercise to begin in Ampara. What fell from the sky in Ampara and Hambantota? JVP says a group that acted to protect the East Terminal has given India a major stake in the West Terminal. Opposition leader meets with farmers.
මූලික අයිතිවාසිකම් පෙත්සම අපේ පූර්ණ සහයෝගය අපි ලබා දෙනවා කියන එක කියන්නේ.
Starting off with your top story for tonight, India's Foreign Secretary Harshvardhan Shringla visited Kandy, Trincomalee and Jaffna today. He is on a 4-day visit in the country. India's Foreign Secretary Harshvardhan Shringla arrived in the country last night. He was welcomed at the Bandaranaike International Airport by Sri Lanka's Foreign Secretary Admiral Professor Jainath Kolambage. The Indian Foreign Secretary reached Kandy at around 9:10 in the morning on an Air Force helicopter. He took part in religious observances at the Temple of Tooth Relic. India's High Commissioner Gopal Bagle was also among those present. The visiting secretary exchanged souvenirs and posed for a group photograph. The Indian Foreign Secretary left for Trincomalee from Kandy at around 10:10 a.m.
This is a site of great spiritual importance, not just for Sri Lanka but also for India. We have some very important projects here that are happening, including the setting up of a Kandy dance center.
What do you think about the Sri Lankan current political situation?
No. This is a temple. Let us speak.
Yeah, I think we will come to all that as we go along the tour. But this is a spiritual journey.
The Indian Foreign Secretary visited Trincomalee to inspect the oil tank farm that is managed by the Indian Oil Corporation. He launched a new product of the IOC and inspected the upper oil tank farms. The Indian High Commissioner in Sri Lanka tweeted that the Foreign Secretary was informed of the development at the lower tank farms. The tweet added that IOC had briefed the Foreign Secretary on the possibility of further strengthening the energy partnership between India and Sri Lanka to enhance Sri Lanka's energy security. The IOC currently manages around 20 oil tanks in the lower tank farms. The Indian Foreign Secretary had left the facility from the upper tank farms. Meanwhile, Foreign Minister G.L. Piri said no decision has been made to extend the agreement with IOC on the oil tank farm. The deal is to expire in 2024.
A final decision hasn't been made. We are discussing whether the project must proceed and how it should be done. But a final decision hasn't been made. No, we are only openly discussing whether it should proceed and if it's the case, how it should be done. We haven't made a final decision on that. Venerable Omar Pessoa says the Indian Foreign Secretary's visit to the Trincomalee oil tank farm marks the completion of a fraudulent deal. The Indian Foreign Secretary is inspecting the oil tanks to complete a fraudulent deal. We understand that they are trying to give away 85 remaining oil tanks to India. What rights do the rulers have to sell off the country's resources? This is a heinous crime. The people must rally against the arbitrary sale of national assets. The president doesn't seem to be listening to our voice. Therefore, we are wondering whether they are governing the country without hoping to remain in power. Is this similar to what happened in Afghanistan? Is this similar to what happened in Ethiopia and Somalia?
ඉතියෝපියාවට සෝමාලියාවට සිදුවුණු දේද මේ වෙන්නේ.
Several projects have been carried out by their government. They visit our country to open them to the public. People from several countries have arrived in the country. They are people who scout for rumors as well. But he isn't here for that. He is here to strengthen diplomatic ties. The Trincomalee oil tank farm has been given to India. The former government did that.
ත්‍රිකුණාමල් තෙන්ටන් ඉන්දියාවට දීලා තියෙනවා. අපි නෙවෙයි ගියාන්ඩු වෙන්දුන්නේ. ඒ පිළිබඳව ගරු විශේෂ අමාත්‍යවරයා සාකච්ඡාවක් කළා තියෙනවා. මම එතුමා ඒ පිළිබඳව ජනතාව පැහැදිලි කරා.
Meanwhile, India's Foreign Secretary Harshvardhan Shringla has told the Veera Kesari newspaper that Sri Lanka must implement the 13th Amendment to the Constitution. He had said India expects Sri Lanka to fulfill the aspirations of Tamils for equality, peace, justice and respect in a united Sri Lanka. The Foreign Secretary had said India will carry out several development projects in Sri Lanka under its Neighbourhood First policy.
The President's Secretary has said Sri Lanka is holding talks with India for a $500 million loan. What is India's response to this?
The energy sector has a special place in our relationship with Sri Lanka. We will provide Sri Lanka the necessary facilities to ensure energy security and increase our support for bilateral benefits. Both governments are holding talks for India to support Sri Lanka in purchasing fuel.
The visiting Foreign Secretary had been questioned on China's increasing activity in Sri Lanka. He had said Sri Lanka and India will have a unique relationship and that India's relationship with other countries will not impact development activities in Sri Lanka. Harshvardhan Shringla had said the development of the Colombo Port's West Container Terminal by India's Adani Group would improve shipping ties between India and Sri Lanka. Meanwhile, the Indian Foreign Secretary inspected the cultural centre that is being constructed in Jaffna. The cultural centre is being constructed using funding from India.
I have just taken a round of the iconic and state-of-art Jaffna Cultural Centre. As you know, this was constructed on the basis of a grant extended by the Government of India of over $11 million. This building is a symbol of the abiding commitment to the Government of India towards promoting and preserving our shared cultural heritage. The large multi-purpose hall, state-of-art facility in terms of the public library area, centers for education in terms of classrooms for music and art, will provide much-needed social space to the people of Jaffna. It will enable them to engage and reconnect with their traditional cultural roots. I'm also happy to say that the Government of India will support the maintenance of the building for a period of 5 years. We hope to be able to announce dates for the inauguration of the Jaffna Cultural Centre soon.
Meanwhile, the 12th Mitra Shakti joint military exercise between India and Sri Lanka will begin in Ampara tomorrow. About 120 Indian Army officers who will participate in the exercise had reached the Mattal International Airport on a special aircraft yesterday. The Indian contingent is headed by Colonel Prakash Kumar. They were welcomed by the Deputy Director of the Mitra Shakti exercise, Brigadier B.N. Godelwatta, and Captain Vikas Sood, the Defence Attaché in the Indian High Commission in Sri Lanka. The General Commanding Officer of the 53rd Division, Major General Nishanta Manage, is the Director of the military exercise. The Indian Army contingent had been welcomed at the Army Training School in Ampara by senior officials, including the Director of the exercise. The military exercise with Sri Lanka Army's Vijay Bahu Infantry Regiment will take place at the Army Training School in Ampara. It will be carried out in a bio-bubble setting for 2 weeks. Indian media reported that the exercise aims to share knowledge on counter-insurgency and counter-terrorism matters.
Sri Lanka Yudha Hamudawa, Indian Hamudawat.
We have been organizing the Mitra Shakti joint military exercise between India and Sri Lanka since 2012. The Mitra Shakti joint military exercise between India and Sri Lanka will commence today and will run until the 17th of this month. In line with this program, the commander of the Indian Army is scheduled to pay a visit to Sri Lanka. We expect to strengthen the ties between our countries through these programs.
A material similar to cobwebs had fallen from the sky between Hambantota and Ampara yesterday. The cobweb-like material has been found in areas including Suryawava, Walsapugala and Thabadagas Vava. Our correspondents reported that this had happened between 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. Materials similar to cobwebs were found in the Ampara district as well. This was in areas including Rajagalathanna, Galkanda and Mahiyanganaya. Residents said the substances had fallen from the sky frequently. What is the substance that had fallen from the sky? Air Force spokesperson Group Captain Dushan Vijay Singhal said these substances had not fallen to the ground due to the movement of military aircraft.
Airport controllers haven't received any reports on this yet. I wish to say that this won't have an impact on aircrafts.
Hambantota District Secretary H.P. Sumanasekara said that officials had inspected areas in which these substances were found. Officers from the Hambantota District Medical Office had obtained samples. They will be tested at the Central Environment Authority's office in Hambantota. Meanwhile, Professor Chandana Jayaratna expressed the following views on the matter.
This is a natural phenomenon. Spiders lay eggs during this period. This amounts to thousands. Since they need to go out and find food, they secrete a small thread. This thread spreads through the air. They will follow that thread. This is not something unique to us. We can see this in many countries. It is called angel hair in European countries.
Incidents of cobweb-like material being dropped from warplanes have occurred overseas. This happened during wars between 1991 to 1993 in Croatia and in 2012 in Syria. The light and stretchy material has been dropped in bigger bundles from warplanes. They had fallen to the ground slowly and broken into smaller bundles. Meanwhile, Indian lawmaker Subramaniam Swamy of India's Bharatiya Janata Party has said he would be visiting Sri Lanka in response to Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa's invitation. In a tweet, Subramaniam Swamy said he has been invited for a dinner with Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa's family. The tweet adds that he will also deliver a speech during an event attended by senior military personnel. Meanwhile, Subramaniam Swamy had told a weekend newspaper it has been proven under the Rajapaksa administration that India is Sri Lanka's true friend. He had said the conception that Sri Lanka is working closely with China is changing and that the manner in which former rulers bent towards China cannot be seen at present.
Meanwhile, the trade union collective of the Petroleum, Port and the Electricity Board met with the leader of the Tamil Progressive Front, Mano Ganeshan, today. The meeting was focused on obtaining the support of the Tamil Progressive Front for the struggle of trade unions against the sale of national resources in the country. This struggle doesn't belong to the Electricity Board, the Port Union or the Petroleum Union. We are all in this together. This struggle belongs to every citizen in the country, irrespective of their creed or culture. Therefore, we are warning the government that they are interfering with the people's mandate. These rulers, who were elected by 6.9 million votes, don't have an ethical right to sell off the national resources to foreign nations. We are confident that we will win this struggle. No suppression or influence can stop our fight this time. We will defeat these movements of the government. Therefore, we are asking the government again to withdraw these decisions with dignity. We will bring the people to the streets to stand against these moves. We are warning the government again to withdraw their decision. Otherwise, they will have to face consequences. You promised to the public through your Vistas of Prosperity policy statement that you will require the national resources sold out to foreign nations. You lied to the people of this country. Therefore, we are urging the government to stop these fraudulent deals. Otherwise, as trade unions, we will have no other option but to get into the streets and educate the public. Yesterday, Minister Rohit Abegunawardena said they will not sell the West Container Terminal. He even said that he is ready for a live debate in this regard. As trade unions, we are ready to accept his challenge.
ඔන්න මෙතන මේ අභියෝගය බාර ගන්නයි තියෙන්නේ. බාරයි ඔබතුමාට මගේ මිත්‍රයා රෝහිත බාර ගන්න අනිවාර්ය බාර ගන්න.
හරියට මේක එක එක රටවල් වල කොලනියක් වගේ. ඕන මිනිස්සුන්ට ඇවිල්ලා
Our country seems to be a colony of other countries. Anyone can come here and act as they please. The government has become their facilitator. They said that they will give 49% of the East Terminal and retain 51% stake. Now we understand that they are keeping 49% and giving away 51% to the Indian Adani company. Why is that? They are working according to the whims and fancies of other countries. They are doing that to obtain commissions. Operations at the terminal have been affected as they haven't brought in a single gantry train. Still, the contractors are working under this situation. They are not engaged in the development activities. Instead of that, they have given the West Terminal to the Indian Adani company. They will then give away the land next to that, saying that the Adani company is running operations properly. Since we have lost our ports, they have decided to hand over a service center spanning 13 acres to China. They are preparing strategies to sell and disown these assets.
මේගොල්ලෝ මේවා විකිණීම සඳහා අන්සතු කිරීම සඳහා පැවරීම සඳහා උපාය මාර්ග සකස් කරනවා.
Our sea is invaluable to the entire world. Our sea is full of unlimited resources. Our sea is the heritage that will pass on to our children. Let's protect our sea from foreign influence. Let's use our name and call it our sea.
The Sea of Sri Lanka.
Let's now toss over to a short commercial break. Do stay with News First. We will be right back.
TV1 News First, main sponsor.
Students complete the ACBT University Entry Foundation in 8 months for 288,000 rupees.
Valuable Finance, best finance company.
One qualification, 2 destinations. All of the students can save time, money and stress. For 288,000 rupees, complete the ACBT Foundation in 8 months and enroll into universities in UK, Australia or ACBT partnered universities in Sri Lanka. Enrolling now. Call 071 115 1234.
Welcome back to the news. The first phase of the opposition leaders' Govi Hadagasma program began today. This was in Hambantota, Nunugamvehera and Agbopura.
The opposition leader paid attention to the problems of farmers.
නිර්දේශිත පෝර ටිකනේ කෘෂි රසායන කෘමිනාශක වල්නාශක.
The recommended fertilizer isn't here. The cost of pesticides and weedicides have increased. Since they haven't received fertilizer on time, the harvest has dropped by at least 40%. The government must bear responsibility for this. Where is the standard purchasing price for paddy? The government is not controlling the price. Farmers are being asked to use organic fertilizer, but they haven't been given proper instructions on it. How can organic fertilizer be produced? How can it be used? What is the mechanism? The farmers haven't been made aware of this. I wish to say that the Samagi Jana Balawege will provide its fullest support in filing a fundamental rights petition with the Supreme Court for the problems faced by farmers.
අපි ලබා දෙනවා කියන එක මම මේ අවස්ථාවේ කියන්න.
The Gahatumana paddy field in Bulat Sinhala is a testament to the damage caused by the fertilizer shortage. Around 500 families cultivate on this field that spans 1,500 acres. We haven't been able to reap a proper harvest. The harvest has failed. We haven't been able to cultivate properly due to the lack of fertilizer. There is no point of harvesting these crops. We will be cultivating again. This problem has to be resolved.
Of the Pharmaceutical State Ministry says data that went missing from the government cloud server would be retrieved. Now, he said that a special committee has been appointed for this purpose.
The Secretary to the State Ministry of Pharmaceuticals, Saman Ratnayaka, said the team comprises of officials from the Information Communication Technology Agency, Epic Lanka Technologies and the Moratuwa University. He noted that the relevant companies involved in managing the cloud server would not be removed from the process until investigations conclude. However, the Secretary added that other activities in the server have been halted. Meanwhile, the assistant software engineer of Epic Lanka Technologies, who was arrested on the 29th on charges of deleting the data, has been remanded till the 6th of October. The CID had told the court that the day of the deletion of the data from the National Drug Regulatory Authority's cloud server was a well-planned operation. CID officers added that it had identified several questionable calls while examining the suspect's telephone records. They told court that an investigation is being carried out on the expenses of the suspect for the construction of a luxury house. The CID also told the court that the National Drug Regulatory Authority has said it would be costly to retrieve the deleted data.
While a nationwide discourse has emerged over the breach of the government cloud and subsequent deletion of sensitive medical data, residents of the Sorobora village in Mahiyangane are in distress over the melting of their bricks. The brick industry is the lifeblood of these people who have accrued many loans to engage in their industry. They are destitute to the extent where they cannot afford firewood but have to resort to using paddy husks. But now, paddy husks cannot be sourced. Mill owners do not have paddy husks because there is no paddy. We have to purchase paddy husks for exorbitant rates.
Back in the day, we bought a sack of paddy husks for 10 rupees. It costs us around 100 rupees with transportation to get a sack now. We sell the bricks we build to eat, drink and support our children. Most leaders speak of how well the country is doing. Their antiques will cost us our lives. People in rural Sri Lanka are continuing to battle the human-elephant conflict. Now, this comes amidst several problems, including the fertilizer crisis.
A tense situation arose this morning after a wild elephant encroached into the Halabava village. The elephant had attacked the chief incumbent of the Halabava Sri Bodhimalu Viharya in Nochiagama. The chief incumbent is receiving treatment at the Anuradhapura Teaching Hospital.
මේක දැන් අලි පදිංචි වෙලා ඉන්නේ මේක මේ 10 15ක් ඉන්නවා අපි කියන්නේ කරුණා කරලා අපි කියන්නේ හොයලා බලලා සුදුසු වැඩ කටයුතු සකස්වන්න නැත්නම් අපිට වෙනවා මේ ගම්මු එකතු කරගෙන පාරට බහින්න.
Alcohol consumption among youth in Sri Lanka is on the rise. On World Temperance Day, Newsfirst files this report.
On the 3rd of October every year, the World Temperance Day encourages people to give up alcohol. Official data show alcohol usage is causing 2.8 million early deaths globally. The problem is now increasingly affecting Sri Lanka's youth.
Because the alcohol industry's main target group is school children and youngsters, young adults. So industry is targeting them. And why they are targeting? Because due to alcohol, in a day, we are losing 57 people in the country. That means they are prematurely dying due to alcohol-related.
Following year and 28.1% in 2019. In 2018, more than 4,000 among every 100,000 Sri Lankans had died due to alcohol-related incidents. That's according to the World Health Organization. Officials say that the youth need to be protected.
Your children, you have to allow them to go and enjoy, go and to do sports, extracurricular activities, but you have to very carefully watch them, monitor them, what they are doing, because the industry is that much shrewd and they are somehow penetrating to the minds of the young adults and the school children.
Crime Watch.
A stone attack has led to a murder in Badulla. A correspondent reported that 3 people had attacked a house using stones while they were drunk. 65-year-old DM Chandrasena, a retired Mahaweli field officer, had died in a fight that followed. His wife recalled the ordeal when she spoke to News First. Police said 3 youths who trespassed in his property had attacked him with steel poles. DM Chandrasena passed away at the Badulla hospital. 3 people of the ages 21, 24 and 31 were arrested over the incident.
Crime Watch.
Now, although our grasp of historical events is vast, there is much more to be unearthed. Unearthing such historical events is no menial task either, partly due to the process involving both scientific and investigative methods. Regardless of such difficulty, it is tantamount for one to be informed of a nation's history as much as the events of the present in order to shape the future of a nation.
Much of Sri Lanka's landscape is occupied by national parks and natural reserves. Such areas have been demarcated and human activities have been banned from those areas. This is done to maintain equilibrium of the environment. These locations not only serve to preserve equilibrium but also allow us to discover the history of our nation that is hidden deep within parks and reserves. Bowathegala Bamaragastala was situated deep within the Yala National Park, the Okanda Temple, Kudumbigala and Kuweni's Palace within the Kumana National Park are but a handful of archaeological sites found at national parks and reserves. Unfortunately, a comprehensive study has not been conducted for over 5 decades on historical sites in reserves situated in the eastern province, including the Toppigala forest in Batiklo. Explorers and the Department of Archaeology have disclosed details of multiple sites of great historical value, but have failed to convince authorities to mobilize resources in order to conduct a full-scale survey yet. Over the past month or so, a group led by renowned archaeologist Professor Raj Somadeva has been documenting and mapping out such locations.
Now we are in the Toppigala Forest Reserve. We are conducting an archaeological survey in this area. We have spent nearly 6 weeks in this forest. Expedition is to make a complete documentation on the archaeological monuments hidden in this forest reserve.
It is now time to reveal details of advanced communities which existed deep within the vast Toppigala forest and its environment. The visuals we possess, captured for the first time, will undoubtedly capture your interest. More details on this story tomorrow.
Moving on, Canada has granted asylum to 4 Sri Lankans who hid Edward Snowden, a former contractor to the US National Security Agency.
Supun Tilina, his wife Nadika Dilrukshi and their 2 children have been granted asylum in Canada. They had provided shelter for Edward Snowden in their small apartment in Hong Kong. Edward Snowden was a contractor to the US National Security Agency. He had stolen documents and revealed the illegal surveillance undertaken by the NSA. 7 people originally from Sri Lanka and the Philippines had provided him shelter at that time. 6 of them have now been granted asylum in Canada. Ajit Pushpakumara, another Sri Lankan who provided shelter for Snowden, is yet to receive asylum. For the Refugees Organization says he filed an application for asylum in 2017. They are calling on Canadian authorities to grant him asylum as his safety in Hong Kong is at risk.
Yohani De Silva has gained global fame after her recent rendition of the Manike Magehite song. Now its melody has been used to compose a theme song of the South Asian Football Federation Championship. We leave you tonight with the visuals of this song. For the News First team, I've been Miyuki Portia along with our sign language interpreter Brian De Cruz via Zoom. Take care and good night.